I'm WG, and the Rosa Lefried banner is actually a bit of a scam. Let me explain. So, while the game is currently undergoing a maintenance, we'll be using footage from the stream before the game underwent maintenance for me to explain to you how you can use your summon resources the most optimally and why one banner is actually more desirable than the other. So let's get the baseline down. You're looking on a 4% SSR chance for both banners. Both banners give you the same amount of premium pity currency, which is your golden currency. And if you have a look at this banner here, you see Rosaria is on a 25% chance. She's a 1% out of 4, so a 25-75 banner. Whereas also featured on the banner you see is every single unit in the game, including Bunny Girl Frey, who is now also, you see right here, who is now also part of the rotation. Now, a 25-75 banner is the way it is, and that is due to it being a colored banner. And what is a good comparison here is that you have all these characters in the Rosaria banner, whereas on the other hand, look at the Arcana banner. The Arcana banner is the same 4%, but it is actually a 50-50 banner, a 2% chance for you to get the Arcana. So that then boils down to the main thing, right? That boils down to the main thing, and that is this pity currency down here. You need in both cases 200 of it to get yourself either the Arcana or the character, which means if you want to be the most efficient with your resources, summons are to be spent on the Rosaria Arcana banner due to there being a higher likelihood of obtaining it, meaning that you then save yourself the 200 points and use those to exchange for Rosaria instead. So summons are to be done at least until the first copy of the Arcana on the Arcana banner. Then you can swap over to the Rosaria banner. And also another factor, I don't know if we show it off here as well, but if you remember that this banner, right? This banner has the full rates. This banner has the full, it has the selected pool, right? Where, for example, the only misses would be Omega and Bunny Girl Scarlet. I mean, you see everybody here, right? So you have the chance to get Bunny Girl Frey, Emily, Bunny Girl Claire, Roberta, Belle, Shara, right? All of these top tier characters, where on the other banner, you have legit everybody on it. So even less likely for you to get a good character if you are to fail the 25-75. Right? If you are to fail the 25-75. Alright, and just because I like to provide you with some more information before we go into a full deep dive of her build guide, if you're curious, Rosaria is one of these characters that does not get infinitely stronger by getting extra dupes. The only benefit for her would be an additional attack bonus in the 15% attack once you get the 3 additional dupes, while also giving you the ability to go up by 30 affinity, giving you additional 150 base attack. So rather than her needing the dupes for an effect, it would be if you need more of an attack stat, making her dupes overall less valuable. And then on the note of skill ups, the skill ups are really this one being 3 to like 5, maybe to level 6. Here you want to go to level 6 on the special so that you get the 1 turn cooldown reduction. And the ultimate is where it starts to get expensive, and that is because the ultimate needs to go to level 6 so that you can get the cooldown reduction, and then it needs to go to level 8, which can be a lot more of a long-term plan, and that is because you're going to get an additional 15% chance for the defense reduction, bringing it from 85 to 100%. So the skill levels are going to be pretty much 668 or 368, but the upgrades going from 1 to 6 for the basic attack really aren't that expensive. Now, then in terms of sets, a lot of people also asked, okay, what exactly should be rerunning there? Alrighty, so set-wise, you're looking at a insight plus effect hit split, giving you the 30% crit rate from the insight set, the additional effect hit so that you're actually able to land the debuffs, And that is the basic set. That is what 90%, 95% of you at the moment should be using. And then the other option is in two different scenarios. Either you have really good substats and then you can find yourself running the crit damage set, because you can, for example, make up for the crit rate through the substats, and also you have a way to gain Nova Burst, which is the currency used to empower an ability, because you get an additional 30% crit rate on the ultimate. So that is how you could also justify a bit more of going with less crit. But the main idea is the crit damage set if you have good substats, and also if you're running her with a teammate that has the ability to provide her with additional crit rate. Like, for example, let's say a Bunny Girl Frey. If a Bunny Girl Frey moves before her, gives the crit rate, you can obviously go for you can just swap the crit rate set, the 30%, for the crit damage set to get a massive amount of damage. So having a Bunny Girl Frey move before her can help. But what could also help is the ability to potentially give her the Arcana that gives her an increased crit rate by 30% for the first 2 turns, which could also work for burst scenarios but isn't suitable for campaign. Now, on the question of effect hit, how high does it need to be? It really depends on who you're facing and what the meta will look like in the future, because once people start building effect rest, that is when you need more effect hit, and also depending on what are the effect hit values for people in campaign. But this is the safest, and if you feel like you have too much effect hit already, then you can always just swap over to the Valor set for a bit more of an attack increase. So that is kind of the split. And in terms of substat priority, it still goes speed is king, then it goes crit rate, crit damage, or crit damage and then crit rate, depending on how you end up and what kind of stats you end up with. And then it's going to be your attack percentage, your attack flat. And in terms of main stats, right, if you're curious, you want to go with speed, here you want to go with attack, and then these pieces are obviously fixed. So this is the Rosaria build we had finished at the end. Yes, the attack is a little low, and this is kind of where things come in. We ended up upgrading her to Affinity 30, putting us to 7,100 attack, but to kind of really start competing and see these like closer to 8k numbers, that's probably where the additional 3 dupes and the additional affinity level would come in to really bridge that gap. I have yet to had the chance to test her out at 7.1k attack to see how important it is, but one good factor is if you reduce the enemy defense, you don't need as much attack to do a big amount of damage. So that's where things end up balancing out each other at the end of the day anyway. Oh, and then also obviously her own Arcana only provides stats once you actually hit the crit on her ultimate. So her attack in-game reflected is going to be higher than what you see here. And that is obviously just because her Arcana is something that only starts working in battle, making her main stats look a little less impressive than what they actually are. And then now quickly, what makes this Arcana so great, and I hope you don't mind us, this like double scenario, it's a bit awkward with there being a maintenance right now. What makes Arcana so great is you'll find it as a mainstay on every single ranger in the game. Rangers are also the most populous class. There's a total of 9 SSR rangers towards the average of around 4 SSRs for every other class. You have top tier units like Lacey, like Belle, Lou. All of these are rangers, Rosaria herself included. All of them will use this as a primary. Furthermore, it has sensory chance, meaning the likelihood of it to appear on strength training and also trigger hyper training, which is pretty high, which makes this a key Arcana in building towards the maxed out strength value. And also it has a bond point perk once you hit level 35, which allows you to gain more strength per strength training, overall just accumulating and allowing you to again get to the strength faster, allowing you to then focus on HP and focus that, as well as also stopping any like bad RNG from stopping you from reaching the full attack stat. Now, what this also makes great outside of the perk with the 15%, which will be a mainstay on every ranger, is this Arcana will become a mainstay on every single parent in the game, and that is because it has a 4.5% insight, a 4.5% crit rate perk that can be inherited by other characters. So this Arcana becomes valuable not just for rangers, but for every character in the game. And also the more times you get it, even on multiple parents or just by using the Arcana, the bigger the discount, meaning you will be able to also then buy other things like speed, like crit rate, like crit damage in its stead, making this a win-win and something that is going to be useful in the long term, unless we get another ranger dedicated Arcana, but that one is going to take quite a while and nobody can guarantee it to be an attack one. Peace.